As the world becomes more technically efficient, it seems increasingly necessary for people to behave communally and collectively. Now, do you think it possible that the highest development of man may be to submerge his own individuality in a kind of collective consciousness?
That's hardly possible. I think there will be a reaction. A reaction will set in against this communal dissociation. You know, man doesn't stand forever his nullification. Once there will be a reaction. You know, when I think of my patients, they all seek their own existence, and to assure their existence against that complete atomization, nothingness, or into meaninglessness. Man cannot stand a meaningless life.
What if I told you that the greatest battle of our time isn't fought with weapons, politics, or even technology, but with the very essence of human consciousness itself? You're living through what many ancient traditions predicted would come, a time when two fundamental ways of organizing human civilization would clash. The Essenes called it the battle between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. Carl Jung described it as the collision between our collective shadow and our potential for individuation. But here's what most people don't understand. This isn't some distant, abstract concept. This battle is happening right now, in your mind, in your daily choices, and in the very fabric of reality as we know it. Many researchers, spiritual teachers, and even mainstream institutions speak of a critical timeline approaching by 2030. But here's the truth they won't tell you. Timelines are not carved in stone. They bend and shift according to the level of consciousness humanity chooses to embody. The question isn't whether this battle will happen. It's already happening. The question is, which side of human nature will you choose to strengthen? The Old World Order, the original divine blueprint. When I say Old World Order, I'm not talking about some romanticized past or political conspiracy theory. I'm talking about what the ancient wisdom traditions, from the Essenes to the early Christians, from the Gnostics to indigenous shamanic cultures, understood as the natural law of existence. The Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in 1947, reveal that the Essenes lived by what they called the Way of Light, a community structure based on unity consciousness, understanding that all existence is interconnected, inner divine authority, each person having direct access to spiritual truth, harmony with natural law, living in rhythm with cosmic and earthly cycles, collective stewardship, sharing resources based on need, not greed. Jesus, who many scholars believe was influenced by Essene teachings, demonstrated this when he said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." This wasn't metaphor, it was instruction for accessing a completely different operating system for human civilization. The New World Order, the control matrix, as it's emerging today, operates on the complete opposite principles. Separation consciousness, dividing humanity by race, class, politics, and nationality. External authority dependence, teaching people to look outside themselves for truth and validation. Disconnection from natural law, creating artificial systems that oppose natural rhythms. Resource consolidation, concentrating wealth and power into fewer and fewer hands. But here's what Carl Jung would have recognized immediately. This isn't just a political or economic system. It's the manifestation of what he called the collective shadow. All the rejected, unconscious parts of human nature expressing themselves through institutions and systems. The New World Order isn't being imposed from outside, it's being created by our collective unconscious fears, traumas, and unhealed wounds. Scripture reveals the true nature of this war. Paul of Tarsus, writing to the Ephesians, captured this perfectly. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and the rulers of the darkness of this age. This isn't about fighting other people. This is about recognizing that there are forces, what Jung might call autonomous complexes, that operate through human consciousness to create systems of control and separation. The 4 battlegrounds of consciousness. 1. The mind. Fear versus love-based thinking. The Essenes taught that every thought carries either the vibration of fear or love. Modern neuroscience confirms this. When we operate from fear-based thinking, we literally shut down the prefrontal cortex responsible for higher reasoning, creativity, and connection. The New World Order system thrives on fear-based thinking, scarcity, competition, survival mode. The Old World Order was built on love-based thinking, abundance, collaboration, thriving mode. 2. The heart. Separation versus unity. Jesus taught, love your neighbor as yourself. The Essenes understood this as recognition that your neighbor literally is yourself at the deepest level of reality. Carl Jung discovered the same truth through his concept of the collective unconscious. We're all connected through deeper layers of psyche that transcend individual personality. When your heart operates from separation, you see other people as threats, competitors, or resources to be used. When your heart operates from unity, you see other people as aspects of the same consciousness, exploring itself through different experiences. 3. The body. Artificial versus natural. The Essenes were masters of what we might call natural living, eating foods that grew from the earth, drinking pure water, spending time in nature, moving their bodies in natural ways. The New World Order promotes the opposite: processed foods, synthetic chemicals, electromagnetic pollution, sedentary lifestyles, and increasingly the replacement of natural biological processes with artificial technological ones. Your body is not just your personal vehicle, it's your interface with natural law itself. When you honor your body's connection to nature, you strengthen the old world order. When you abuse or artificialize your body, you strengthen the new world order. 4. The spirit. External versus internal authority. This is the deepest level of the battle. The old world order was based on each person developing direct personal connection to divine consciousness, what the Gnostics called gnosis, and what Jesus demonstrated through his teachings and miracles. The New World Order requires you to give your spiritual authority away to external systems, institutions, leaders, experts, algorithms, artificial intelligence. The Essenes weren't just religious philosophers, they were practical community builders who created a working model of the old world order that sustained itself for over 200 years. Here are their key principles, translated for our time. 1. The community of goods, resource sharing. All who enter the community shall put their knowledge, their powers, and their possessions at the disposal of the community. The community rule. This doesn't mean giving up personal ownership, it means recognizing that true abundance comes through sharing rather than hoarding. Modern application. Start small. Share tools with neighbors. Create skill exchanges in your community. Support local businesses that operate on cooperative principles rather than pure profit extraction. 2. The Council of Decision-Making. Collective wisdom. The Essenes made decisions through councils where every member could speak and be heard. But they had a crucial element missing from most modern democracy. Decisions weren't just based on opinions or preferences, but on alignment with divine law and natural principles. Modern application. Practice deep listening in your relationships and communities. Before making important decisions, ask not just what do I want, but what serves the highest good of all. 3. The daily practices, inner authority development. The Essenes had specific daily practices for connecting with divine consciousness: morning meditation and prayer, study of sacred texts and natural law, physical labor as spiritual practice, evening reflection and gratitude. Carl Jung independently discovered the same pattern in his process of individuation, regular practices that integrate conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche. Modern application: create a daily practice that includes some form of meditation, time in nature, creative expression, and service to others. 4. The healing arts, holistic wellness. The Essenes were renowned healers who understood that true health involves the integration of body, mind, and spirit. They used herbal medicine and natural remedies, energy healing and laying on of hands, emotional purification through community support, spiritual healing through prayer and meditation. Jung's approach to psychology was holistic in the same way, treating psychological symptoms as expressions of the whole person's journey toward wholeness. Modern application: approach your health holistically. Address physical symptoms by also looking at emotional, mental, and spiritual factors. Support others in their healing journeys. Carl Jung and the pathway to individuation. Jung's map for the consciousness battle. Carl Jung spent his entire career studying what he called the individuation process, how human beings can become whole, integrated individuals capable of conscious choice rather than unconscious reactivity. His insights are absolutely crucial for understanding how to navigate the current battle between the old and new world orders. The shadow work. Reclaiming rejected parts, Jung discovered that every individual and every culture has a shadow, aspects of themselves they've rejected, denied, or projected onto others. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The New World Order is largely the manifestation of humanity's collective shadow, our unprocessed fear, greed, power hunger, and trauma expressing itself through systems and institutions. The path back to the Old World Order requires shadow work, both individual and collective. Personal shadow work questions. What qualities do you hate most in other people? What aspects of yourself do you try to hide or deny? What emotions do you judge as bad or wrong? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Collective shadow work. How do we heal the collective trauma of colonization, slavery, war, and oppression? How do we integrate our capacity for both creation and destruction? How do we acknowledge both our individual sovereignty and our interdependence? The anima/animus, integrating masculine and feminine. Jung discovered that every person contains both masculine and feminine psychological qualities, regardless of biological sex. He called these the animus, inner masculine, and anima, inner feminine. The New World Order is characterized by extreme imbalance, toxic masculinity, aggression without wisdom, dominating toxic femininity, emotion without boundaries. The Old World Order emerges when we integrate healthy masculine, focused action, clear boundaries, logical thinking, with healthy feminine, intuitive wisdom, emotional intelligence, collaborative creativity. Integration practices. If you tend toward over-masculinity, practice receptivity, emotional expression, and collaborative decision-making. If you tend toward over-femininity, practice clear boundaries, decisive action, and logical analysis. Regardless of your tendency, study and embody both qualities consciously. The self, your inner authority. Jung's ultimate discovery was what he called the self, the archetype of wholeness that exists within every human being. This is essentially the same thing Jesus pointed to when he said the kingdom of heaven is within you. The New World Order wants you to project this inner authority onto external systems. The Old World Order emerges when each person claims and develops their relationship with their own inner authority. Self-connection practices, regular meditation or contemplative practice, dream work and attention to synchronicities, creative expression without concern for external approval, service based on inner calling, rather than external rewards. The practical path forward. Here's the beautiful secret the old world order teachers understood. You don't have to wait for anyone else to give you permission to live according to divine law and natural principles. The battle between these two orders isn't happening out there in some future scenario. It's happening right now, in this moment, in the choices you make about how to think, feel, and act. The 4 pillars of personal transformation. 1. Inner authority development. Develop a personal spiritual practice. Learn to distinguish between your authentic inner voice and conditioned responses. Make decisions based on inner guidance rather than external pressure. 2. Community building. Find or create communities based on love rather than fear. Practice sharing resources and supporting each other's growth. Resolve conflicts through communication rather than domination. 3. Natural living. Eat food that comes from the earth. Spend time in nature regularly. Use natural healing modalities when possible. Reduce dependence on artificial systems. 4. Service orientation. Use your unique gifts in service of the highest good. Support others in their healing and awakening journey. Work towards systems that serve all life, not just profit. The ripple effect. The ancient wisdom traditions understood something modern psychology is just rediscovering. Individual transformation creates collective transformation through what Jung called the participation mystique, our deep unconscious connection to each other. When you choose love over fear, unity over separation, inner authority over external dependence, and natural law over artificial control, you literally strengthen those qualities in the collective field of human consciousness. You become what Gandhi called the change you wish to see in the world. As we approach this critical timeline, every choice matters more than ever before. The question isn't whether the old world order or the new world order will emerge. Both potentials exist simultaneously in the quantum field of possibility. The question is, which reality will you strengthen through your thoughts, emotions, choices, and actions? The Essenes understood this when they wrote, "Every thought, every feeling, every action is a vote for the world you want to live in." Carl Jung understood this when he said, "The world hangs on a thin thread, and that thread is the psyche of man." Jesus understood this when he taught, "Be the change you wish to see, and the whole world will be changed." Choose one fear-based thought pattern you notice regularly and practice replacing it with a love-based alternative. Find one way to share resources or support someone in your community. Spend time in nature and ask yourself, how can I align my life more closely with natural law? Practice one form of inner authority development: meditation, prayer, journaling, or creative expression. Remember this: you are not a victim of circumstances. You are not powerless in the face of systems. You are not alone in this transformation. You are a conscious co-creator of reality. You have access to the same divine consciousness that guided the Essenes, inspired Jesus, and illuminated Jung's understanding. The old world order isn't something you have to build from scratch. It's something you remember, something you embody, something you are when you align with your deepest nature. The battle for humanity's future is being won or lost in this moment, in your consciousness, through your choices. Which world will you choose to strengthen today?